Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I am reading off my list of the worst films of 2011. And how apropos for me to do this on the final day of this year. The very first film that I have on this list is, of course, as you would have guessed from my review of New Year's Eve, it was nothing but Drek. It was the worst film since When in Rome. Everything about it was cliched. It was just pointless, plotless, and ridiculous. And I can't believe I actually cried at that film, but I did, even though it was a horrible movie. The next movie you couldn't pay me to see because I'm just not a fan. But it's the first part of Twilight Breaking Dawn, and I have better things to do to see brooding teenagers. And next one's Sucker Punch. I haven't seen it, but I've heard enough about it that it makes me think that it would be a bad movie, but maybe once I've reviewed it I'll change my mind. But it's still going to go on the list as one of the worst movies of the year. And the next one kind of surprised me because even though I am a fan of Cars and Cars 2, it just didn't add up for me. And I do enjoy Pixar, but Cars is just not my favorite part of the franchise because I just feel that they can do better. And although it was good and innovative and creative, I just, having Mater as the hero was kind of annoying. And uh, to be very frank with you, they could have had a better candidate for a spy in this one, but they didn't. So, I like Larry the Cable Guy, but uh, it just wasn't one of my favorite movies. I think Happy Feet 2 and Arthur Christmas were far better. And of course, The Adventures of Tintin, it might just get the the Oscar this year for Best Animated Film, but we'll see. We'll see. Pixar will probably get it. They always get it. But this year, it might be different. The next movie on the list is Zookeeper. Now, I didn't have to see this movie because the trailer alone let me know that it was pure trash. Same thing for the next one. Now, just like Kevin James, I love Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey has been relegated to B-list movies that have absolutely no substance or panache whatsoever. So, that movie, no contest. It was going to be bad from the get-go, plus the trailer looked just ridiculous. The next movie is the Smurfs, and even though I grew up with it as a little girl, I just didn't think that it would be very enjoyable, and I thought, no, you can't pay me to go see that film. I don't have the time. Next one is Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chipwrecked, same reason. Now, the next one kind of surprised me, even though I did give it a 3.5 out of 4 review. But it was a strange film, and it was kind of unnerving. I love Nicolas Cage, but I'm just wishing and hoping that he gets better movies than Season of the Witch in the coming year. Next one is Green Hornet. I didn't see it, didn't have to, looked stupid, and that's all there is to say about that. The next one I did see, and it was let down from the get-go. I should have enjoyed it, but it was just that type of movie that everything that was about it was awful, and it could have been better, like Daredevil, but it wasn't even that. This was just painful to watch, and some of the writing was very cliched, and I just didn't enjoy the Green Lantern. Next one is Gnomio and Juliet. Now, looking at this movie, normally I would enjoy a film with Elton John in it, but just the whole idea that they're taking Romeo and Juliet and giving it a makeover, and No, I think the best version of this is, well, modern version is West Side Story, because it's my top musical favorite of all time. Next, next one is Justin Bieber. I am not a fan of Justin Bieber, and let's leave it at that. Next one, I didn't see it because it's there are too many films that are like this one, and Tyler Perry does it well enough on his own. He doesn't need an imitator following his every move. So Big Mama is really getting old really fast, and I just don't want to see any more Big Mama films. And if they do it anymore, I'm going to shoot myself. Next one is Mars Needs Moms. The title itself should tell you what kind of movie this is going to be. Same thing goes for Battle Los Angeles. This was probably a takeoff on Independence Day, or I don't know, but should have never been made. Next one is one I thought I would like, but I didn't see it. But seeing the trailer, I thought, ugh, no, I'm just gonna avoid that at all costs. Even though, it was a good concept for the time, and they were trying to do a movie based on Easter, and it was the only movie out there about Easter. So it just wasn't a good idea. But Russell Brand did have one good movie this year, and it was Arthur. Um, but Hop just wasn't good at all. Now this is one I did see, and I can say that I utterly loathed it. But the first one was perfect; it had everything going for it. The second Hoodwinked, which is called Hoodwinked 2, Hood versus Evil. Ugh, such a disappointment. And I heard from my ex that they're going to be making a third one. After seeing the second, I think I'm going to avoid it like the plague, because the second one was just, oh, mind-numbingly painful to watch, even though it should have been enjoyable. I mean, Cheech Marin was one of the voices, and I love Cheech Marin, and there were some other voices that I absolutely adored that were involved in this version of the movie, and I just thought, oh, why did they do that? Next one on the list is Prom. I didn't see it, but the trailer itself was just proof that it wasn't worth my time, nor worth even a matinee, because it just looked lame. Next one is Fast Five. I love Jean Claude Van Damme. I love Vin Diesel. I love all those different action adventure stars, but I'm getting so sick and tired of the Fast and the Furious franchise that I think they should just put a cap in it and leave a dead horse to lie and decompose, for God's sake. The next one, I don't think anybody saw it, but I actually enjoyed this film. I thought it was a good romantic comedy, but otherwise forgettable as far as movies are concerned. And the movie is Larry Crowne. I love Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts. Unfortunately, I think she's ruining her career, whatever little career she has left. And it's just a really, well, it's not the worst movie of the year, but the worst movie of the year was New Year's Eve. But yeah, moving on. Jumping the Broom, it's the same kind of thing. It just looked stupid with the trailer, and it might have been something that I would have enjoyed, but no. The next one is just weird. Now, I love Mel Gibson, and I know he's got a lot of controversy around him, but I don't think this movie helped his career. And Jodie Foster directed it, and it was very interesting. I think it was an autobiographical film. I think it was a movie about his father. The reason I say this is because the Beaver had an Australian accent, but granted, it's interesting psychological fare and a very existential film. But it's otherwise, just not that great. And I did enjoy it, but I just unfortunately had to put it on the worst movies of of the year, just because probably a lot of people that didn't see it, and it bombed in the box office. The next one was one I wanted to see, but Johnny English Reborn, the trailer looked horrible, and I thought I'm gonna just avoid it at all costs and not even gonna bother seeing it. Um, I will review it at some point in time in the future once it comes out to DVD, but for now, it's on my list of worst films for this year. Next one, it surprised me. It's another one of those action adventure films, but from what I read, it's like it was made for TV, and the movie is Killer Elite, and it just looked bad. And I don't intend on seeing it, nor do I even want to bother myself with spending extra hours that could be devoted to doing something more productive like writing or exercising or just doing errands around the house. Next one is another film series that could have been killed long before it reached the point where, oh, we're just doing sequels just to milk the cash cow. And it's Spy Kids. Now, I love Spy Kids, don't get me wrong. I love the first one, I love the second one. When they started going into Spy Kids 3, I thought, why are you doing this? This is just to utilize the 3D technology, which is to get you to spend more money and to give the cinema more money. It just, some films are just not made for 3D. And the only one that really used the technology well and was able to really make you feel like you were there was Avatar. But I digress. Next movie, I didn't see it. I don't know what it's about. I really don't care. But it was I think it had something to do with the 80s, but it was called Take Me Home Tonight, which is a song from the 80s mixed in with an old song, Be My Baby from Dirty Dancing, if you know anything about that. Little factoid. Uh, but I didn't see it, and the trailer looked lame, so I just didn't bother with it. If anybody can clue me in as to what it was about, please let me know, but it just didn't look that interesting to me. Moving on. Next one is Harold and Kumar Christmas. Now, I did kind of sort of liked Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, even though it was really bawdy and male humor and just kind of sophomoric. And I like the guy who played Kumar, just because I think he's really funny. I think it was Cal Penn. I think that might be Cal Penn. But I love him. He's been one of my favorite actors in a long time, and I really need to see The Namesake. And I know this kind of I'm getting off track again, but I will eventually. And the last movie on the list is Paul. I didn't see it, but the whole thing looked just utterly asinine, and I just thought, no, I'll pass. So basically, these are all the movies that I thought were the stinkers of 2011, and take it or leave it. I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but I think there were a lot of, this was a good year for films, and there were a few stinkers, so I think that's a mark of a great movie year.